Get ready for some hard-hitting podcast action as you're tuned in to the Slam Session. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Slam Sessions. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at the Slam Sessions and at facebook.com/the Slam Sessions Podcast Network. Today is going to be a very interesting episode of the Slam Sessions. It's the first time I have a guest on the Slam Sessions podcast. With me today is Tommy Budnick. Tommy, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
It's great to have you here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait to get started.
So what we're going to do for you today is we're going to run down the Wrestlemania card. I know I've been harping on Wrestlemania for a little while, but 'tis the season, so, I mean, what else are we really going to talk about? But we're going to break it up a little bit after we're done talking about Wrestlemania. We're going to talk about some of our favorite undercard guys. Some of the guys that, never made it, weren't really main eventers, but, we all went, we loved them just the same. And, you kind of always wanted to see them take the next step. So we'll get into that a little bit, which will be a lot more fun. All right, so I guess we'll just jump right into it. I mean, Wrestlemania is kind of looking stacked, right?
I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited about the fact that they brought back Goldberg.
Thanks for listening to the Slam Sessions. Find us on Twitter at the Slam Sessions. We'll see you next time. I feel the same way. I mean, I think that Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the Universal title would have been a lot better of a match, and I think it makes it more prestigious.
Yeah.
The Goldberg-Lesnar match doesn't need a belt.
Doesn't need a belt. It's been done before. I mean, everyone wants to see what's going to happen with Brock Lesnar now, how he's going to react to it, but like I said, didn't need the Universal belt. I think Chris Jericho versus Owens for that belt would have been awesome.
And then, we had a little bit of a conversation before we went on the air, and we were talking about how both of the mid-card titles this year at WrestleMania are being defended in singles matches. If Jericho would have, let's say Owens costs Jericho the match, and, just to throw a random name out there, Sami Zayn winds up winning, the U.S. title. They could have had a good, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 Raw guys in a ladder match or, a Falls Count Anywhere match. Something just interesting for that belt.
Yeah, it's especially better than throwing wrestlers into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Well, that's actually a really good place to start. As of right now, we have confirmed Big Show, Apollo Crews, and Mojo Rawley. I don't think we have anybody else completely confirmed. I think
so. We have 3 confirmed guys that are probably not going to win.
Yeah, exactly. I think it looks like. I think Braun Strowman's going to wind up winning.
Yeah.
But by that same point, there are a couple of big guys who don't have matches yet. And I mentioned Sami Zayn. He's won. He doesn't have a match at WrestleMania.
Unreal.
Samoa Joe at this point doesn't have a match at WrestleMania. We don't know if Finn Balor's coming back before WrestleMania.
Hopefully he does.
And Dolph Ziggler doesn't have a match at WrestleMania. So are these guys going to be just thrown in this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal for no reason?
Such a waste.
It is. Those are some of the more talented guys on the roster. Now, I know for me, I'm not usually one to agree with a lot of the guys who talk on the internet, but Sami Zayn is talented. Ziggler's always been one of my favorites. These are guys who deserve a good spot at WrestleMania, and I just kind of think they're going to be kind of pushed to the back on the back burner.
Yeah, it's weird. You wouldn't think that Ziggler or Zayn would be forgotten at WrestleMania.
Especially Ziggler.
Yeah,
Sami Zayn, maybe this is
I guess.
This would be I think this is his second WrestleMania, so I guess, I can kind of see it, but
But Ziggler,
yeah.
I would like to see him have a match.
Exactly. Just been a part of something. So that's the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Personally, I know we have all the participants. Do you think anybody else but Braun Strowman's going to win that?
No. If he doesn't win, it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Who would win? Who else would be the guy?
I know Crews? Maybe, but I feel like they've kind of been down on Apollo Crews for a little while.
I don't see who else would win.
I know last year they brought in Corbin, and he won, and they brought him up from NXT, but is there really any? I can't think of anybody from NXT that they're going to bring up as a surprise that would
win.
Yeah, especially over a guy like Strowman.
Yeah, and no one else has anything to gain but Strowman.
Yeah,
from a win.
Especially after he lost to Reigns, which, look, everybody knows.
Great match though.
It was, and everybody knows how I feel about Reigns. I really like Reigns. I just don't think he needed that win. I think it would have been so much better for the Undertaker to come out, screw him out of that match, and have Strowman look really good.
That would have been a really good finish.
But at the same point, I guess he really had to make Roman look like he'd be ready for Undertaker. So, which that's something we'll get into a little bit later. There are 3 unconfirmed matches so far that look like they're probably going to happen. Because we can kind of talk about 2 of them we can probably kind of breeze right by, and one of them is kind of a big deal. So the first one is American Alpha versus the Usos for the SmackDown tag titles.
Probably will happen. I can see that happen. It would be a good match.
I think so too. I think the Usos have been really good since they turned heel.
I've definitely been.
And
good.
I'm a huge American Alpha fan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I really hope they come out on top if that is gonna happen.
I agree. I think
Great tag team.
They are. And SmackDown's tag team division is actually looking pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also if they wind up winning, and you know how after WrestleMania we have a lot of the NXT call-ups. How great would it be if the Revival comes up and they renew their rivalry from NXT?
That would be amazing.
Though they've had some of the better matches that I've ever seen.
That would be really cool to see.
Apparently, the Revival just has great matches with everybody, which is just they're an amazing tag team. So I can't wait to see them on the main roster. Hopefully, they don't get wasted like the Ascension did.
Wouldn't wish that on anyone.
No, I don't think anybody does. Another one, which I think this has been confirmed. I mean, maybe just whatever site I'm on is saying it's not official. But Baron Corbin versus Dean Ambrose, falls count anywhere for the Intercontinental title.
I feel like that is basically confirmed.
I mean, after everything they've been doing over the past couple of weeks.
If that's not, it'd be pretty weird.
Yeah, it's going to happen eventually.
I think it'll be a great match.
I think it's going to be good. I might be in the minority on this. I think Baron Corbin's doing a great job.
No, I'm with you on that. And I would hope for him to come out on top if they do have a match.
I agree. I really would love to see Baron Corbin win the Intercontinental title. Really put
Elevate him.
It would, and they need it. SmackDown. One of the things I've been saying is that they don't have, they have like 3 top guys, or 3 or 4 top guys, 3 or 4 intermediary guys where they can fluctuate between being a main eventer and and everybody else is like an undercard guy. So this would really elevate Baron Corbin into like a semi-main event status. Wins the Intercontinental title, gets himself a big match, a big win at WrestleMania, and Ambrose doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Ambrose has nothing to gain from that win. Yeah, I mean, it'll be solid for him to win, but Corbin has more to gain getting that WrestleMania win, gaining the belt.
I agree. I feel like ever since Ambrose lost the world title, he's just been floundering.
Yeah, he hasn't really been.
There isn't a spark. I think that they need a spark for him. Yeah. I think that it would be smart if they maybe drafted him back over to Raw after a little while. Maybe did because all the guys in the Shield are baby faces now.
Yeah,
it'd be really cool to see have them especially with the Authority. Maybe Reigns starts beefing with them again. Rollins is already which is something we're going to talk about in a couple of seconds. Rollins is already all up in Triple H's face. That'd be really cool to see them be like the Shield versus cool. Triple H, Samoa Joe, and Kevin Owens. Those are some badass matches you could be putting together. So. I mean, that's something to think about. I mean, hopefully they do the draft right after WrestleMania because they need fresh matches already.
Yeah, they really do.
And I guess while we're on it, Rollins and Triple H. Rollins looked pretty good on Raw.
Oh, he did.
Until, Triple H hit him with a crutch and tried to break his leg. But he was moving quick, throwing kicks. Didn't look like he lost much of a step.
Let me tell you, I do want to see Triple H bury him on WrestleMania, though.
Really?
Yeah. Really? I like it, but I love seeing that for some reason. It's exciting to me.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm in the minority completely.
I mean, I've always been a huge Triple H fan. He's always been one of my favorites of all time. I just think that Rollins has so much to gain, and actually him getting hurt was the best thing for him.
Actually, was.
Because now he's like the scrappy underdog. I don't even think they're ever going to announce that they're officially going to have a match. I think it's going to be one of those things where Rollins is going to come out, and him and Triple H are just going to beat the shit out of each other.
That'll be a great match.
And maybe that's how Samoa Joe gets involved. Maybe that's how Balor returns to help Rollins.
Maybe a big brawl just happens.
Yeah. Well, maybe Ambrose comes out and helps Rollins.
There you go.
It could, it could lead to some interesting stuff.
That would be awesome.
But I like the idea that they haven't announced the match. I would like it better if they don't.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just let Rollins come out like he did at NXT. Call out Triple H. Triple H just comes out in his wrestling gear, and that's it. The fight's on.
That would be awesome.
But I kind of have to disagree with you. I kind of do want to see Rollins win.
I know I'm in minority. I just love to see every fan's dreams get crushed.
God, you're turning into me. This is fantastic. I love it. Yeah. So, we talked about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Do we really need to talk about that anymore? Okay. So, on to the absolute confirmed matches. Neville versus Austin Aries, Cruiserweight title. I know that I had told you before. I was a little disappointed that this wasn't like some ladder match or.
Yeah, really strange that they didn't involve, like you said, 6 cruiserweights just with a ladder match to just go crazy and steal the show.
Yeah, I mean, and they have the talent to do it. Since they turned Neville heel, which I think Neville's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And Austin Aries coming back and, being at full strength. I think, I've always been a huge Austin Aries fan. They have a lot of guys in the cruiserweight division that can help and, to help really put together like a good match. Swan, TJ Perkins, Brian Kendrick, Tozawa. And they have a lot, Tony Nese, Drew Gulak. They have a lot of really deep
division.
Yeah, and I thought that, maybe even if they didn't do like a ladder match, maybe like a gauntlet match like they did a couple years ago, just something cool that they could have put on the pre-show that would have really open like the first match on the card.
Been a perfect opener.
Yeah. So
where the energy would have been high right from the start.
Yeah, exactly. So
I don't know.
But I mean,
look,
the ball. By that same point, I think Aries and Neville, if given enough time,
of course,
have a chance to steal the show.
Of course.
And I mean, for me, I want to say I want Aries to come out on top, but I kind of like Neville as the king of the cruiserweights.
No, I like Neville.
Yeah, I mean, this new nasty heel, talking in a British accent,
awesome.
Kicking things. Oh man, I never thought in a million years we'd see Neville as a heel, and now that I see it,
I love it.
I'm so happy. He's perfect.
No, I love it.
All right, so I guess we're both in agreement there. I mean, I love Aries, but I think it's not yet. Let Neville get the win at WrestleMania.
Keep it going while
it's
hot.
Yeah, because it is. He's been putting on some of the best matches that they've had in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So, I mean, that's that. SmackDown Women's Championship. I mean, I like the idea that they're saying every available woman on the roster has a shot at Alexa Bliss. And I also like the fact they're not telling us what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, it's a complete mystery.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool. So now Bliss has got to watch her back. She doesn't have Mickie James to protect her anymore, which is cool to see Mickie James back.
It was really great to see Mickie James back.
I know you very much enjoyed seeing Mickie James come back.
Very much.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was awesome that they, that she came back to, really kind of bolster that division a little bit.
No, that was really cool.
Because I mean, let's face it, Nikki Bella is not going to be in this match. She's going to be in the mixed tag match, which we'll get to that later. Yeah. So we're looking at Natalya. Well, obviously Alexa Bliss will be defending.
Yeah.
Carmella. I'm trying to think. Becky Lynch.
I think
Mickie James.
Natalya should get her due.
I feel like they need to do something. I don't think Alexa Bliss walks out as champion.
No,
I think the original plan was that Naomi was going to be in this position right now, and they maybe would have booked like a Divas Gauntlet or a Battle Royal or there's just some like crazy deal.
A Divas Gauntlet would have been best because you don't know who she's fighting, and then you can have say her opponent come out, and then it's not over,
right?
And then
maybe there's like a surprise entrant at the end, like the last person will be like I don't know. There's been rumors that Kelly's supposed to return. I mean, so maybe that's like something that they do. Not that I really would care either way.
But, Kelly, goodbye.
No, I agree. But something interesting. Maybe even if Nikki Bella came out at the end, like maybe that match took place after the Cena match. But I don't know. I guess if I had to predict that somebody's walking away with the belt, I kind of think it might be Mickie James.
Actually, it would kind of make sense, in the storyline realm of it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind seeing Mickie James champion.
No, definitely not. I think it'd be cool to see her come back. And what would be awesome is seeing her come back, win the belt, and maybe her first or second pay-per-view defense is against somebody like Natalya. So like the two old school women, like the OGs going at it for the title.
That would be perfect.
I'd love to see that. Okay, so we'll switch back to Raw. So the Raw Tag Team title match, I think it's a little less, it's a triple threat match, and I feel like it's less interesting than the singles match on SmackDown. So Gallows and Anderson will defend against Sheamus and Cesaro and Enzo and Cass.
I guess I just want to see Enzo and Cass win, but I like them going after the belts more, I guess. Too.
Yeah, I agree. I think
weird.
I feel like Enzo's lost a little bit of esteem since he came to the main roster. I feel like his promos haven't been the same.
Some of them are still good though.
Yeah, like he's got a lot more.
I actually think Big Cass is turning really good.
Yeah, I think he's getting better on the mic. I think he's getting better, in the ring. Yeah, I think Cass is going to wind up being like.
They might break up soon. Not soon, but
they might break up, or they might, maybe Enzo just becomes his hype man. Doesn't really wrestle much, kind of like Xavier Woods for the New Day.
You think? You think they don't want?
I mean, look.
Yeah, he's not.
I love Enzo, but he's not the greatest wrestler in the world. Really. And I mean, it would be cool if he was just kind of like the hype man. Wrestles every once in a while.
That would be cool.
Yeah, but Honestly, I think I see the club coming out with the titles.
They're gonna win.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that Gallows and Anderson win. I think finally Sheamus and Cesaro break up.
Oh my god.
Because this has been too long.
I didn't think it was gonna last like this.
Neither did I. I mean, I didn't think they were going to win the tag titles.
Well, definitely not.
I definitely didn't think that they were going to stay together after doing it.
No way.
I mean, I liked the way that they brought them together. With the bar and them beating the crap out of them in the bar. That was cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like brought me back to the old school APA days.
Yeah.
But
nowhere close to them.
Yeah. But I mean,
well, Cesaro, I like.
I love Cesaro.
Sheamus, I can do it out.
I can get
He's boring to me. I don't know.
Sometimes he's funny, and sometimes he's kind of good, and then sometimes he's kind of boring.
He's just blah.
Yeah. I think a change of scenery for both of them would do them really well. Maybe if Sheamus stays on Raw and Cesaro goes to SmackDown, Cesaro could be a bona fide main eventer on SmackDown.
Easily.
Yeah, I mean, just think about the talent, the level of talent that's over there. Cesaro can have great matches with guys like Cena and AJ and Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton.
They just keep sticking him in tag teams.
I don't understand it. I mean, I love, and the thing is that I wound up liking the tag teams once he's in them. Him and Swagger, I was like, why are they putting them together? And I kind of liked it. And there's him and Tyson Kidd.
And Tyson Kidd, I
was like, why are they putting them together? But it worked.
That
worked. They were
really
great.
Yeah.
And then it's like him and Sheamus got put together, and I was like, oh, this is even worse. And I was like, you know what? They're kind of not bad together, though.
They're not bad together. It's just
they need to break up.
Yeah.
It needs to be it. Cesaro needs to get a little bit more of a main event push. If it's not going to happen now, it's never going to happen.
I agree.
And I think Sheamus needs to kind of go back into he needs to go in. He needs to work with a guy who I'd like to see him stay as a babyface, maybe and work with a guy like Corbin. They can have a couple of good matches. Hard hitting, the two guys just beating the crap out of each other.
It's true. Just let him put people over.
Yeah. I mean, maybe eventually throw him a bone every once in a while. Give him a couple main event matches and stuff like that. I don't think he's, at any point now. I don't think he's done. I think they can revitalize his character, but right now they need to. They need to do something.
Yeah, they need to do something.
The Mohawk, got that stale really quick.
Yeah, and plus it just led to a lot of jokes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's actually longer than I thought we were going to talk about that. Do we think anything cool is going to happen with the New Day as the hosts?
I don't know. What can they do as the host to make it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like they're going to have something.
A cool entrance coming in, or they got to do something.
They have to do something. It kind of bothers me they're not going to have a match at WrestleMania after being tag team champions for almost the entire for over a year.
It's pretty strange.
Yeah, it's kind of crappy
to be just the host.
Yeah, I mean I love them.
I mean they're all great on the
great
mic,
on the mic. They're entertaining, but they're also really good in the ring. I don't know. I don't
get it.
It kind of bothered me a little bit that they're not going to wrestle.
They got to do something.
And maybe they'll have an interaction with somebody. Maybe we get some old school heel legends come back, and then New Day's gonna beat the crap out of them, something like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
and
that's always fun to see.
But at the same point, do we see The Rock showing up again this year?
Probably. He's always a good guest to come back.
Yeah, he's always good to come back out of nowhere.
Tell someone to shut their mouth and know their role.
Beat Eric Rowan in 5 seconds. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just that whole New Day thing kind of bothered me.
Yeah, it's really strange.
All right, so we'll go back to SmackDown. Well, this is actually one of the matches I'm kind of oddly looking forward to a little more than I thought I was going to be. Because who really ever looks forward to a mixed tag match?
No.
But the build with Miz and Maurice on the mic against Cena and Nikki Bella Miz and Maurice have been gold the past couple of weeks.
Just amazing on the mic.
He is killing it. Those segments on Talking Smack, he's ripping John Cena's life apart.
It's one of the best promos ever. It's really good.
He's so solid. He's finally, and I feel like the story that he's telling is true. If anything,
that's what's so great about it.
Yeah,
it's real.
It's Cena kind of, he always gets pushed to the forefront. And if anything, maybe a guy like The Miz should have been put in that position.
Yeah.
And he does do a lot of the media, and he does do a lot of things for the WWE that they kind of, he doesn't get any credit for.
I agree, but of course, I think we know that John Cena and Nikki Bella would probably come out on top.
Well, there's a big rumor going around that the whole Maurice, you're never going to get this ring kind of a thing.
It's brutal.
They're saying it might be a setup for a whole Macho Man and Liz situation where Cena might propose to Nikki Bella after they win the match.
Really?
That would be, storyline wise, would kind of be cool.
That would be cool.
And then
that'd be cool.
The thing is I think that they've acknowledged that they're a couple, and I think they've acknowledged it on Total Bellas.
Yeah, Total Divas.
In Total Divas, they've
out
got
there.
Yeah, I hope they don't stay in this position for a while though. Like I hope it's not going to be every feud that Cena has from here on out,
including
and Nikki Bella's going to somehow be involved.
Yeah. That'll get stale.
Definitely.
And plus, I just want to see John Cena on his own wrestling.
I mean,
he doesn't need Nikki Bella.
No, John Cena doesn't need anybody.
No.
John Cena is, the it guy. He is the number one guy in the WWE, and there's no doubt about it. And anybody who says any different is a complete hater.
Yeah.
I mean,
stupid.
If you can't look at that match with him and AJ Styles at Royal Rumble and tell me that
amazing,
and you can't tell me that Cena can't wrestle or he doesn't know how to carry a match or other people have to carry him. You can see who the leader in that ring was. John Cena the entire time, pulling off things I've never seen him do, wrestling one of the best matches ever, and it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
And Cena's on fire. And at the same point, The Miz has really come into his own. He's getting better in the ring. Amazing on the mic. If The Miz is not a world champion within the next year, they're doing a severe injustice to them. Unless this is something where Bray Wyatt's going to have a very long and extended title run. I don't
know.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I like Bray Wyatt.
So do I.
But
I mean, we'll get into that a little bit later. I feel like there was mistakes made, but I mean, The Miz deserves to be a top superstar now. I mean, he's too good to waste on a show. Kind of like the way that they waste Ziggler. They shouldn't waste guys like this. And Miz is kind of making himself to a point where he's not going to be wasted.
No,
he'll refuse to be wasted.
He's too good.
Yeah, and Maurice has been doing great too.
Yeah, she looks great too.
Well, I mean, that doesn't hurt. All right, so that's that. All right, we'll get into the controversial one, the one that everybody's kind of talking about, the one that everybody's kind of just like, they don't know if they want it or not. AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. Now, I know you said that this was one of the matches you were looking forward to.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, Shane McMahon never disappoints. No matter what you can say about him, you're always talking about him the next day.
I completely agree.
And he's not a terrible wrestler. Obviously, AJ Styles is going to be the one who's going to carry that match. But Shane McMahon is going to put on those spots that you're going to be talking about tomorrow, the day after WrestleMania.
Absolutely. And, my big thing is that, here we go. I guess it's got to be once an episode. My rant against wrestling fans.
Here it comes.
All right. Here's my thing. I get it. AJ Styles is the best wrestler on the WWE roster right now. Maybe the only person that comes close to holding a candle to him would be a guy like Cesaro. I get it. I understand. You want to see AJ Styles, have like that big match at WrestleMania against a guy who can hold his own. AJ Styles debuted at WrestleMania last year against Chris Jericho, one of the best wrestlers ever. And Jericho and Styles put on a great match. Yeah. Now, this is much more high profile. Shane and him are going to have an awesome match. And AJ Styles, if he can wrestle a broomstick and make a match great, why does his opponent need to be of a top caliber? Like, I'm really getting sick of all these internet fans going, oh, well, Shane McMahon's not good enough for him. Because a year ago, when Shane McMahon came out, it was, oh my God, Shane's back. I hope he comes back as a full-time wrestler. I want to see him wrestle all the time. I don't want him to be off TV. Let him be like like one of the main focuses of the program. And now all of a sudden, nobody wants to see him anymore. I'm really getting sick of it.
Flip-flop so quick.
It's so easy. One thing goes wrong, and all of a sudden, that's going to ruin somebody. Shane McMahon's going to get booed out of the building for no reason.
I don't understand it. I know when his music hits, when I'm watching, I'm going to stand up and start cheering.
I mean, I agree. I completely agree. Shane is always the guy who puts on a solid match at WrestleMania, at whatever pay-per-view he's on. Just think about King of the Ring, against Kurt Angle. I mean, come on. These are classic matches that Shane's had. He never disappoints, and I think that he's not going to disappoint. This is going to be the match that steals the damn show.
Yeah, especially at WrestleMania. Shane McMahon is going to do some crazy stuff. The match is going to be unbelievable. And hopefully, like you said, maybe it's like a hardcore
I think they kind of have to. I mean, I know that they're looking into doing like that Falls Count Anywhere match with Ambrose and I mean, screw it. Put 2 of them on there. I mean, Ambrose and Corbin can have one. And
why not?
Yeah, maybe one's a street fight, one of them's a falls count anywhere match. You establish them that way. Weapons get used.
Maybe they even fight if it's a regular match and they get counted out. And they just keep going for just beating the shit out of each other, climbing the rope, just putting Styles to a table. I can see that happening.
I think that this is going to be a show stealer, and for every guy who's sitting there and saying that they don't want to see it, you're a moron.
Every time Shane McMahon wrestles, I'm interested.
I completely agree. All right, so we'll move on to the match that I am absolutely, bar none, hands down, looking forward to the most, because it has been the best story that WWE has told within like the last 5 years. Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, U.S. title. I mean, we both said that this should be a world title match, and this has the caliber to be the world title match. I just want to, real quick, I just want to point out that a lot of people talk about the WWE, and they talk about their storylines, and they talk about the fact that, they never do anything when it comes to their storylines. It always seems like it's predictable. It always seems like, this has been one of the best stories they've told in a very long time.
Oh, without a doubt.
And the top 3 or 4 matches that we're looking at WrestleMania this year, they're kind of betrayals. You have Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, and I guess you can even kind of throw in Shane and AJ.
Yeah,
it's all he's kind of like these big betrayal kind of matches. I can't wait for that.
Oh, it's gonna be.
This is gonna be the best match. This is gonna be the best match of the card.
I don't even know how the finish is gonna happen.
I don't know who wins.
Yeah, I really don't.
Because a part of me doesn't see Kevin Owens winning the United States title because he was just a world champion. And so, which makes it unpredictable because then you don't think Jericho's going to win because you don't know how long Jericho's going to be there.
Yeah.
And that to me makes it that it's going to be, something great.
I agree.
For what is it? It's almost been a year now, right? It's close that it's been a year.
Yeah.
Jericho and Owens have been the best part of Monday Night Raw. Ever since they were best friends, maybe it's been about 6 months, maybe it's been about half a year.
Yeah.
But ever since they were best friends, they have worked so well together. The list of Jericho, him and Owens cutting promos together in the ring, talking over each other, complimenting each other, the big hugs. They're great. They work together so well. And I seriously was almost felt betrayed myself when I saw Owens turn on Jericho. I was like, oh no. I like the artwork. I think the Owen Jericho picture was great. I'd hang that over my mantle if I was KO.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was solid.
Over a fireplace.
Yeah. I mean, the magician wasn't that good, but so you get for hire on me of a Craigslist. But again, you talk about betrayals storylines. It's always a little bit predictable. This made me feel like I felt when Shawn Michaels turned on Marty Jannetty in the barbershop and threw him through the window.
Best betrayal ever.
That is the best heel turn ever. I don't think there's ever anything going to be better than that. But this made me think the same way. It was like these guys were that close. They were that good of friends. And it looked like, I loved the idea that he gave him a new list.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and it set it up for Jericho's so excited. And then you just see the list of KO on the back. And you just see, Jericho, why is my name on this? And you just at that moment, I went, oh, no, here it comes. Oh, no. And just that beatdown was perfect. Everything about this story has just been great.
Agreed.
And I'm also glad to see Jericho being a babyface again, just because I love Chris Jericho.
I love Chris. And who doesn't like Chris Jericho?
I mean, look, you talking about my top 3 favorites of all time. Chris Jericho is it's a crapshoot between him, Bret Hart, and Randy Savage for me, my favorite of all time.
Good, great list.
Yeah. Who do you think wins? We have to throw out a prediction.
I'm gonna have to say Kevin Owens. I don't know how he could lose. I don't know.
A part of me thinks that, if Jericho didn't beat AJ Styles at WrestleMania last year, I would have said that's Jericho because Jericho kind of is owed that, that big match. But I'm going to go with Jericho. I think Jericho wins. I think that Jericho holds the U.S. title for a little bit longer. He keeps that feud going with Owens until they have a loser leaves town match kind of a deal, so Jericho can go, away and be in Fozzy. But I think, along those lines, Owens costs him the title because I just don't think Owens is. I don't think they're going to downgrade him to being in the U.S. title picture.
That's true. That's just
They downgraded Owens Reigns a couple of months ago for a reason. I don't think they'll do that to Kevin Owens.
No, I don't think he needs to be downgraded to build himself back up. I don't know.
He's a main eventer.
Yeah, I don't.
He is a main eventer.
It's gonna be a weird finish. I think.
I think so too.
A screwy finish.
I think so too. I mean, maybe there's some interference from Samoa Joe, maybe Triple H.
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah, something big's gonna happen. All right, so I guess we'll move on to Raw Women's Title. We have as it stands right now, triple threat match: Mickie James versus Mickie James. What I'm doing. Bayley defends against Charlotte and Sasha Banks.
I mean,
we've
seen it.
This is the same thing as last year.
Yeah.
Only switch out, a girl whose first name starts with a B.
It's true.
Instead of it being Becky, it's Bayley.
I mean, it'll be a good match. It's just,
I feel like this match would have been a lot more interesting if Nia Jax or Dana Brooke were involved in it. Like one of the two of them, just as a fourth person,
throw that wild card.
Yeah, just to make it interesting. Especially somebody like Nia Jax, who I think is completely underrated. I think she's lost a lot of momentum as being like a killer. I think there's a good opportunity to see her, even throw around Charlotte a little bit, because nobody's throwing around Charlotte.
It's true.
So I kind of feel like this is one of those, a missed opportunity. They could have had somebody else in, but it's gonna be a great match.
Who do you think's gonna come out on top?
Well, I think it was stupid that Bayley broke the streak.
Yeah, agreed.
Especially at like a Fastlane pay-per-view.
Yeah, if anything, if she was going to break the streak, it should have been at WrestleMania.
I agree. Charlotte should have walked in as champion, and I think Bayley walking out as champion would have been good. So that makes me think that Sasha is going to turn on Bayley in the middle of that match, and Sasha's going to cheat her way to beating Bayley and leave Bayley feeling betrayed.
So you pick Sasha.
I'm going to go with Sasha.
I think Bayley's going to retain.
Okay. The only reason why I say it's going to be Sasha is so Sasha wins, she has a feud with Bayley.
Yeah, it makes sense. But then where's
Charlotte and Dana Brooke just broke up? This could put her into that position too. So
that's true.
I'm thinking that could be something that they're going to try to go with.
Well, they need to spice it up or change direction a little bit.
Yeah, because it's been the same. It's been Charlotte versus Sasha has been like the main feud. I know Bayley's the champion, but it just feels like Bayley has now come into the middle of the Charlotte versus Sasha
exactly
feud. So, it should be good. It should be fun to watch. Well, now we have the three biggest matches.
Here we go.
All right, I guess we'll get this one out. Before we go to the main, the two world title matches. Roman Reigns, Undertaker.
It's, I don't even know what to think about this match, honestly. I don't think it's going to be a long match. And
I kind of feel the same way.
I feel Roman Reigns will win. It's just a matter of how it goes. I don't know. It's just, I'm looking forward to it because every time Undertaker wrestles, I'm obviously invested.
Of course.
But I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think that this is the most high-profile Undertaker match over the past few years.
Really?
I think that this is the way. This is the way for the Undertaker to say, or for the WWE through the Undertaker say, okay, you guys want to come out here, you want to boo Roman Reigns. You guys want to come out here, you want to talk crap about him, about how he can't wrestle, about how he hasn't earned it, about how the only reason he's getting pushed is because of Samoan heritage. All the crap that these fans talk. Put him in the ring with the guy. Put him in the ring with the guy who is going to make his career. Roman Reigns said something really interesting on Raw. He said, I'm going to retire The Undertaker. This could be one of those things where maybe this is The Undertaker's last match. And maybe Reigns is the guy who puts him out.
They really want to. It's a great way to push Reigns to that next tier. To say you retire The Undertaker.
Exactly.
But
that's a heel thing, though, for me.
Yeah, that is a heel move to retire someone like that. That's like a...
And that squashes my dreams of a Shield reunion.
Yeah, that would definitely put a cap on that.
Yeah, but even still...
I don't see him retiring The Undertaker.
I don't think he's going to retire him, but I think Reigns walks out of that match, even if he loses, looking like $1 trillion. Kind of like what AJ Styles looked like after the match with Cena.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see The Undertaker give him a nice choke slam, tombstone, and 1, 2, 3. But I just see Reigns winning.
I
don't know. It's always tough to put Undertaker on the mat, to lose.
Yeah, I don't want to bet against The Undertaker. He's lost once at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
There are years where you thought that, maybe he should have lost. I still hold that, if he should have beaten Brock and maybe lost to Bray Wyatt.
I was going to say that. Bray Wyatt was the one he should have lost.
Right.
Like,
you want to pass
for the dark,
Right. You want to pass the torch to anybody. It's that character, that macabre character gets passed down and lives on through Bray Wyatt now instead of The Undertaker. But I don't know. I don't want to bet against The Undertaker.
I know. It's weird. I feel like he should lose,
I feel like he should.
But like you said, I think Reigns is going to win, but you can't bet against The Undertaker.
And what is the reaction going to be like in that stadium if Roman Reigns wins that match?
It's going to be Boo City.
It aggravates me. It still does. And I know I say this every single time I do this podcast, but these fans just still aggravate me about this. There's nothing about Roman Reigns that you look at him that you would think that he should be a guy who should be booed.
No.
You would want to cheer for a guy like that. And I think that's the thing. I know a lot of people don't like him.
Yeah.
But some people talk a lot of crap about him. But Vince Russo said something about Roman Reigns and about John Cena and about a lot of the guys who are top WWE guys. Who weren't indie guys before they were out there. In the 80s, in the 90s, maybe up until maybe Austin, every wrestler was the kind of it looked like he wasn't you. I couldn't be a main eventer. I couldn't main event WrestleMania. Yeah. Somebody who looks like me, some chubby guy who's 30 years old, who's worked out probably about 50 days in his entire life, can't main event WrestleMania. Now I feel like fans resent these guys who look like $1 million because Reigns got the look.
Yeah.
He's got okay, maybe he's not the most accomplished wrestler in the world, but he's always putting on entertaining matches. And I feel like we're at a point now where we look at that and we're like, well, I can't be that guy, but I can be fat like Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I'm not picking on Kevin Owens. I'm not calling him fat because he's not fat. He's built.
He's
just a big dude. But Kevin Owens.
That's why I love Daniel Bryan.
Right. Because he was like this scrappy underdog kind of a character. And that works. Sami Zayn's a good example of that too.
Perfect.
And that works sometimes. But you can't be a scrappy underdog if all your guys in that company look exactly like you.
Yeah, it's very true.
What are you going to do? Be like, oh, man, I can't beat, it doesn't look like I can beat this guy. Chris Jericho is the same thing. He's kind of like an average sized guy. Yeah. So you have, Chris Jericho, let's say, being a guy in the main event, and he's like, oh, how is Sami Zayn going to overcome him? Sami Zayn's taller than him. You know what I mean? So you can't be a scrappy underdog if you don't have a guy like Roman Reigns or The Undertaker or Bray Wyatt or John Cena.
You need them.
Absolutely. And, God, these people who boo Roman Reigns piss me off.
It's really unreal.
I hope Reigns wins. I just think The Undertaker will.
Yeah. I can see either way.
It could go either way. All right, so we got the two. All right, you know what? I want to talk. I think that I have a lot more emotionally invested in the SmackDown main event than I do the Raw main event. So we'll go with that one first, and we'll talk about the SmackDown main event to close. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to that. And there's a lot of things that I think that, looking at it now, I thought should have been different, but now I don't think because of the way they went. But let's talk about the other one first. Brock Goldberg 3. Or is it 2? Well, I guess it's 3 because the WrestleMania 20 match. Yeah. So all right. So Brock Goldberg 3. Goldberg is 2-0. So at this point, they put Brock in such a position where even if he wins, it doesn't he doesn't even the score.
Yeah.
He just kind of wins and takes the title, and he's like, oh, maybe I got you may have beat me twice, but I got the last laugh kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Any bets on how long this match is going to be?
I'm going to bet that the entrance is a lot longer than the match.
I think you might be right, especially with those long WrestleMania entrance ramps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Without a doubt. I don't see this match lasting long, and I don't think Goldberg will win because is he really going to have the belt after WrestleMania?
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't look right with him.
No.
It doesn't.
It's weird.
It doesn't make sense. We talked a little bit about this before we started. I feel like if I was a guy like Goldberg, I would never want to go over Kevin Owens the way I did.
Yeah. It's just very strange.
Yeah.
This match against Brock, like we said, would be perfect without the belt. You don't need it.
The story's already built in.
Yeah, the story's there. This is the match you don't need a belt for.
I think that Vince is very stuck on making sure that the main event of WrestleMania is always a match for the world title. And I think that this is why this match has a world title involved in it.
Yeah.
Because I think that Bray and Orton need the belt for that match to work.
Yeah, they need the belt.
I think that Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, they don't need the belt because they had a good story, but the belt was a good centerpiece for that story because the belt was the centerpiece. Jericho always helped Owens win. This match doesn't need it.
No, it doesn't need it, and it's going to be the main event, like you said, but...
Does anybody care?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is anyone going to care? Like, if Goldberg wins, that's stupid. If Brock Lesnar wins, it makes more sense, but it doesn't really matter.
My biggest issue is that no matter what happens, we wind up, again, starting off post-WrestleMania season with a part-time heavyweight champion.
Yeah, without a doubt. And how long is Goldberg going to be around for after WrestleMania?
I don't think his contract is even extended for him to work any dates after WrestleMania, which makes it seem, look, maybe WWE will strike something up and they'll say, hey. But here's my problem. I don't like I don't care that Brock is even a part-timer. I don't care that Goldberg's even a part-timer. Like, it's fine. I think it's good that they are only around for a certain amount of time because if they were there every week, they would lose their mystique. They'd just be another guy. And even I wouldn't even care if that part-timer wasn't even available to work every Raw because you don't essentially need the champion on every Raw.
No.
The idea behind of having a world champion is you need to now fight to earn your shot against him.
Yeah.
So, okay, now we have a couple of guys battling it out every week. Lesnar shows up once a month to stare down, whoever the new guy is, and that's it. Maybe holds onto the belt for a little while. But they got to wrestle on Raw every once in a while. They can't just come out and cut promos on Raw every week. Why is it okay that Lesnar works a house show in Madison Square Garden but doesn't work a Raw?
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. And that's the thing that pisses me off about the part-timers. You want to come back part-time? I know a lot of people crapped on him coming back. But how about Batista came back and worked every date?
Yeah, it's true.
Jericho comes back, he works every date.
It's a workhorse.
Yeah. You want to come back and you want to go back into the family? Work a Raw. I'm not saying you have to dress up every night and you got to go on do all the house shows and you have to wrestle on every Raw and always make sure your tights are with you because you never know when we're going to throw you into a match post-Raw or something like that. Once every 3 or 4 months. You gotta do it.
It's their fault because he's getting paid and he doesn't have to, so he's not gonna. But
who's gonna want to work more days and risk getting hurt?
I don't know. I just, Brock wins probably.
I say the same thing. All right, it's the main event time, and this is
the better one.
This is one of the storyline wise. I don't like the way I wasn't crazy about the way the story started. Bray and Luke Harper are, getting an advantage over Kane and Orton. Orton turns on Kane and just says if you can't beat him, join him. And all of a sudden it seemed like Bray was best friends with Randy Orton right after that. It was like,
right off the bat.
Hey, you want to be friends with me? Yay, let's be friends,
Not only friends, like just boom.
Yeah. But then, I like the idea there was friction.
Yeah.
I like that Harper, kind of got in the middle of that. Another guy who doesn't have a WrestleMania match
they just underutilized him.
Absolutely.
He's a great wrestler.
He really is. And, this is one of those situations where you thought he could have even been added to the mix into this match.
He'll be in the Battle Royal.
Probably.
I'm guessing.
It seems like it. So there we go. There's another guy that could be a candidate to win the whole thing. So maybe if Braun Strowman doesn't win it, I guess my secondary pick would be a guy like Luke Harper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But now, Orton he's a Wyatt. And they win the tag titles. And then they lose the tag titles, and they kick out, Luke Harper, and now Harper's, trying to beat the crap out of both of them, and then all of a sudden, Randy Orton wins the Royal Rumble. And we know it's going to be Randy Orton at 1/2. And everybody, again, internet fans, we're going to get Orton versus Cena in the main event of WrestleMania. Again, another one of their matches. I'm so tired of it. And then, lo and behold, here we go. Bray Wyatt, Elimination Chamber, wins the title. I was under the influence, I think I may have told you this, that my biggest complaint was I thought that Bray should have won the Rumble.
Yeah.
And Orton should have been the champion going in. And Bray wins the title at WrestleMania. I thought maybe it meant something. Until I saw the way Randy Orton turned on Bray Wyatt.
That was awesome.
Perfect. Dumps all that gasoline in there, lights the house on fire, cuts a great promo. This is the Orton of old.
Yeah.
This is the Orton that was really good in his early runs against Cena.
That's what I really liked.
Yeah, this is old school Randy Orton. Orton's interesting again to me. He's not just again. He became another guy.
He was blah for a little while.
He was. He became just another guy for a little while, and now this is interesting. Badass, cool Randy Orton.
Agreed.
But Bray is still one of the best characters in wrestling.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think this is going to be a very interesting match. Do you think Luke Harper gets involved?
I kind of feel like, I kind of thought that, but does he go after both of them?
Yeah, that's what it...
Because he doesn't like either of them. Or does it, is it now that because Sister Abigail was, desecrated, does this bring back Eric Rowan? Does this bring back Luke Harper? Do they, all three of them, kind of come back and help Bray win the title? Because, no matter what, as bad as Bray may have turned his back on Luke Harper, Sister Abigail was their bond. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff that can go on.
It's going to be more interesting than Brock and Goldberg.
Absolutely. And the match, I think, is going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah, the match is going to be...
Orton knows how to turn it on, especially for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I remember, a lot of people weren't looking forward to the Orton-Rollins match at WrestleMania a couple years ago. That pop-up RKO
I was just gonna say,
was so sick.
And he was so amped right after he hit that,
Yep.
too.
And that's the other thing. This is the idea, the lead-in for the AJ Shane McMahon story stems from this whole thing. Orton gives up his spot at WrestleMania. We have a battle royal. We have a tie between AJ and Harper. AJ wins the match. AJ's going to WrestleMania. But then AJ's got to face Orton. And that RKO psych out was awesome, too. Styles goes and does that springboard, stands on the top rope. He's like, nope. I've watched all the videos of you just catching people with the RKO. I'm just going to stand here. And then out of nowhere, again, he just hits a pop-up RKO, which I thought, they did a great job. Orton's on fire again. He's looking great in the ring. His promos are on fire. Him versus Bray is going to, that is...
steal the show.
That's the main event. That is going to be the main event, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, there's no other match, I think, that's bigger and is going to be better than that match. There are some show stealers, but that's the main event. That's going to be the match.
Yeah. Who do you think wins?
I don't think they're going to slow Bray's momentum. I think they finally got him with a world title on his shoulder. I think they're going to keep it that way.
I agree.
Oh, that's good. So, all in all, on a scale of 10, what do you think WrestleMania's grade is going to be? Like, the build, the card so far, what do you give it?
At least a solid 7.
Okay. I was going to say an 8.
It could have been around that.
I think that, they lose points for the Goldberg match, the Goldberg-Lesnar world title match. I think that kills a little bit of the vibe. Because if not for that being for the world title and the main events were Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho and Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, that is money. And every other match after that is money.
Well, Vince just thinks those guys can't headline WrestleMania.
I guess so. It
has to be the reason.
I mean, Orton's done it before.
Well, yeah, Orton.
I think Bray's in a position where
John Cena.
Yep. I mean, John Cena was probably, if Orton was in one main event, Cena was in the other.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, I think that they did triple threat matches where it was Orton, Cena, and Triple H. So I mean, but I think Orton's trusted now as being a top guy.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he got that spot. But to not trust Jericho and Kevin Owens in this position,
especially Jericho,
seriously, it kind of bothers me. I think we have a couple of show stealers. I think we have a couple. I don't. There is not one match on this card that I can sit there and just go, I don't care. Maybe this is the Raw Tag Title match.
Yeah. And
maybe that's the weakest one on the card.
Not two.
Yeah. Other than that, this is a solid WrestleMania.
It'll be exciting. But I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
So am I. So that's our preview to WrestleMania. So now for the remaining time, we're going to talk about some. All right. So here's the deal. Tommy and I have known each other actually pretty much all our lives. We grew up on the same block. So we've been watching wrestling pretty much together for our entire lives, which is an awesome thing. But when you're a big fan of wrestling, there's always those guys that that your friends are like, man, I love, such and such of a guy. And you're like, why is he like one of your favorite wrestlers? And, they're usually the undercard guys, but me and Tommy refer to them as just they're buttheads.
The butthead wrestlers.
Just the butthead wrestlers, and these are the guys that are usually in the Intercontinental title picture, U.S. title picture, European title picture, that never seem to break out and become like a top guy. but are always like on the cusp, and they're always entertaining, and you always kind of hope they were going to be a little bit more than they were. So we're going to talk a little bit about like the attitude, some of the Attitude Era guys, some of the pre-Attitude Era guys, maybe some post-Attitude Era guys. I know you have a couple of names in mind who you want to talk about. So,
well, especially for the Attitude Era, my favorite butthead wrestler, as we call it, it's got to be Val Venus.
Who didn't like Val Venus when he came out, though?
The man.
I mean, they show this package where it's him and Jenna Jameson, and they're filming a porn, in the middle of it, and you're like, who is this guy?
It's so funny, and I still quote him to this day, like all the promos that he had.
Yeah, they were legendary.
It's so funny.
That character was perfect for the Attitude Era.
Oh, without a doubt.
Him and the Godfather, like
Just
those are like the Attitude
quintessential like Attitude Era.
Yeah,
guys talking about sexuality.
Just a pimp and a porn star.
Yeah, pimp and a porn star.
But I mean, and Val, there was a point.
He was actually a good wrestler.
He was, and there was a point where it looked like, he had a couple of higher profile programs. It looked like he could have taken that next step, and for some reason it just didn't happen.
Well, I really don't think they wanted a porn star character as the world champion.
Well, at that time in WWE, they had girls, showing their boobs, and they had,
true.
They had, there was a lot of stuff that went on during the Attitude Era. I could see
I could kind of see that. He was a great Intercontinental Champion.
He was.
He held it for twice or something, maybe.
Well, and he was a part of probably the greatest storyline in the history of professional wrestling.
Choppy,
your pee-pee. By and far, one of the greatest storylines in wrestling ever.
Who was not looking forward to that next Raw to see what actually happened to Val
Oh
Venus?
my God! And that's one thing. I want to do. I'm going to get you back in here, and we're going to do an Attitude Era show.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Because this probably won't be one show. It's probably going to be like a lot more than just one. But that's the one thing I miss about Raw now. There's never that excitement of, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait till next week to see what happened. Holy crap! They don't do that anymore.
No.
And that was it. You remember? I just remember seeing Val hanging from.
Oh my.
With his ass out, and, this big sword.
I remember the next week when he starts walking out with the jeans and the ice
the ice pack over his balls and stuff. Oh my God!
Then you were like, oh my God, he really did get it chopped off.
They chopped off his dick. Like, what the hell is going on?
Oh man,
that was one of the best storylines ever.
He was a very entertaining character.
He was. On the same, on the same level, I'll give you an Attitude Era wrestler myself, who I always was a big fan of, and I thought always deserved to get a little bit more of respect. D'Lo Brown.
Oh man,
how awesome was D'Lo Brown?
Just do the head shaking.
No, the head shake was it. But like, I loved when he won the European Championship.
Yeah,
and he was like, I'm the champion of Europe. I'm the champion of Europe. And every week he was being announced from a different European city, and he would refuse to defend his title and he was saying that he was like, oh, I'm dining with all the kings and the queens and all the.
He was great.
He was so entertaining.
And he had the vest.
Oh my God, yeah, the vest, because I was trying to remember actually exactly what the storyline was, and I think that his pectorals got ripped by like Dan Severn or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then he starts putting on this vest, and he starts he's got a chest protector on for like 3 years for no reason.
Funny enough that we were just talking about Val Venus. Val Venus fought him, I think, for the European title, and he took his vest off. Val Venus put it on him and did the money shot.
That's right, and Val Venus got disqualified for it.
Exactly.
Which didn't make any sense because I don't know why
D'Lo Brown
use it.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
But he was a fun character.
He was.
And even still, like, they kind of gave him a little bit more of an edge after the Nation of Domination broke up.
He was with Godfather for.
He was teaming up with Godfather for a little bit. He was teaming up with Mark Henry for a little bit. He had a really good feud with Jeff Jarrett for the European and Intercontinental title. And Jarrett actually wound up winning both titles and giving the European title to Mark Henry. Mark Henry turned his back on D'Lo. That was Henry's big turn. But, I mean, D'Lo Brown was awesome. He was athletic as hell. For a guy who was a big guy, that low-down frog splash, he was doing moonsaults. D'Lo was great.
The only downside of D'Lo Brown is paralyzing
Dross. Man, that was terrible.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other than that, I always thought D'Lo kind of got the short end of the stick. I always thought he was going to be something a little bit bigger.
I liked him. I thought he was a good wrestler. Entertaining.
Yeah. You want to go with one of yours?
I got to name another one. I'm going to say Goldust.
Oh, man. When Goldust first came out, He was the creepiest character in wrestling.
So creepy.
I remember him debuting, and I remember like the video packages, and I remember him coming out, and I remember I was a big fan of Dustin Rhodes in WCW. And then I see this guy come out, and he's got a platinum blonde wig and platinum blonde hair, and he's painted, and he's dressed from head to toe in gold. And
unreal.
Yeah. What was the thing that drew you to him?
I just thought he was so unique, and the way he would like chase, I think Razor Ramon.
The razor tattoo on like the fake razor tattoo on his heart.
I thought it was just so unique, and it was funny, and it was interesting. Like I like funny, and I just thought Goldust was just so good at entertaining the crowd. And he was a good wrestler too. He
was a great wrestler. At one point he was one of the top stars, in WWE. Even as he was an Intercontinental Champion, but he was having matches with Mankind, matches with Stone Cold. He got really big, and I mean, I think the apex of his career, the thing that he might be remembered for the most,
Rowdy
Piper and the Hollywood Backlot Brawl.
That was amazing.
That whole situation was great.
It was so funny.
I think that they did a great job with the Goldust character, because they protected him for a while when it came to that. There was always the air about Goldust where we were just like, I don't know what's gonna go on.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with him? Like, this character's so creepy. It's so weird. And look at him now. He's still employed with the WWE.
Yeah.
He's evolved his character.
Had a great career.
Yeah, he's evolved his character for years. And, you always kind of thought, that's one guy I would have liked to see maybe had a little bit more of a run towards the top.
Yeah, but I think him being just a high-profile Intercontinental Champion was just perfect for that character.
I completely agree.
And to come back and win the tag belts with his brother Cody Rhodes was pretty
that
cool.
was good, too. And then,
who would have thought that would have spun into a little bit of a more run for Goldust?
Yeah, and think about it this way too. You talk about a career resurgence. The Booker T and Goldust tag team was so good.
That was good too.
That's post
comedy.
Yeah, post Attitude Era. These two guys are an odd couple out of nowhere. Kind of wanted to team up, and Booker T doesn't want anything to do with them. Goldust is dressing up in it's still in his full gold face paint and full gold outfit, but he's going out and going to 7-Eleven. He's got friggin' like a Knicks jersey on. Like,
it's pure comedy.
Yeah, he was great. Like, that was just a great tag team.
So what about you? Another butthead?
Right, so here's a guy who I was another one who I was always a big fan of. Maybe I didn't think he should have been like a main eventer,
but
I just always kind of liked him. Al Snow.
What does everybody want?
Exactly. I thought that Al Snow had like it was such a cool character.
He was good. I liked him.
They did him right with the they put him in the hardcore division. He had great matches with guys like Bob Holly and Road Dogg.
Road Dogg.
Yeah, and but Al Snow was underratedly one of the funniest characters on the show during the Attitude Era.
I agree.
Just walking around with the head, talking to the head. At one point, he had a moose. At one point, he had a dog. Like, this guy just came out out of nowhere and just waving up these stupid things.
Even with Steve Blackman with the head cheese.
Yeah, just the stupidest things. But I always thought he was great in the ring.
He was great.
So underrated as a wrestler. I kind of think they put him in the hardcore division just because I think that another guy who I could have actually whose name I could have brought up was Perry Saturn too, who fell into that category.
Yeah,
where
he came into the hardcore.
Right, because
when he came in.
Right, and it was like that idea where they were both former ECW guys. They were used to a hardcore style. I always thought that Al Snow kind of got it. After like the hardcore division went under, when he almost did a similar thing to D'Lo Brown, won the European title and started announcing himself from all the different European countries. And but what I thought was great was that they changed his entrance music every week. So it was, what does everybody want? And they would say head in a different language, which I thought was cool. Yeah. It was really brilliant. And he had a good feud with William Regal to get Regal over to get the European Championship. I thought Al Snow was like one of the better, quote unquote, enhancement guys that they had. He always put on a good match. He always was funny. Anytime he was on the show, it was entertaining.
I agree. I have another butthead.
Let's do it.
Gangrel.
Oh my God, that's such a good one. I didn't expect you to say that, actually. I thought you were going to go with the other guy that we were talking about earlier.
I know. I wanted to switch it up.
That was good. Man, how good was the Brood?
Oh, unbelievable! I mean, who doesn't remember the entrance and and the theme music?
Still to this day, one of the best theme songs that
Oh,
WWE's ever
without a
done.
doubt, top 3.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Oh man, Gangrel was awesome.
He just got shafted because Edge just became.
Yeah,
Edge.
Christian.
And Christian
you know,
became
I mean,
Christian, yeah.
both of these guys. It's funny. I remember listening to Edge was doing an interview, and he was saying something along the lines of, him and Christian got put into that tag team to be to get Gangrel over.
Yeah,
like Gangrel was supposed to be like,
of course, he was supposed to be
the it guy. And I think Gangrel lost out. It was Royal Rumble. I want to say maybe '98. He had a match against X-Pac where.
Oh yes, they messed up in the.
Yeah, and it looked like he actually won the match. And if he would have won, the crowd went nuts that he won the European title at that point. I think that they messed up, and that's where Gangrel's career kind of. Because if he would have won the European title that night, Gangrel could have actually been like a much bigger guy in WWE.
I thought he was a good wrestler. He was the good with the blood.
Yeah, but it was a cool character.
It was a cool character.
It was something a little bit different every time you saw him.
But as soon as Edge and Christian got a little bigger, he just got smaller.
Yeah, I mean,
phased out.
Those TLC matches with the Hardys and stuff like that.
Unreal.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a guy who I think. He's going to be like one of those guys where, Edge and Christian will always credit him for being like the guy that helped him get to that point. In their careers where they were really solid and they were learning underneath him. And there's a lot of different stories that came out of like, especially Edge's backstory, where you would talk about Val Venus. If you remember, there was the NWA resurgence at one point. Jim Cornette was putting together the NWA guys.
With the tag team.
Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart.
God.
And that was actually originally supposed to be Edge and Val Venus were supposed to come in and do that.
Thank God that didn't happen.
It was Edge was going to be Adam Impact, and Val Venus was going to be like sensual Sean or something like that.
So bad.
And yeah, I mean, it's actually like one of those things where thank God that didn't happen. Poor Bob Holly and Bart Gunn, but I mean,
someone had to do.
Yeah, someone had to fill those shoes. All right, so I wanted to throw a little bit of a curveball out if we were going to do this.
Of course.
We always talk about like, the undercard guys in WWE, but I think the WCW had a few really good undercard guys. One of them wound up becoming one of the biggest superstars ever in Chris Jericho. I think that his run, during that time was great. But I think a guy who got really underappreciated during that time was Eddie Guerrero. In
WCW.
In WCW, and then he goes on and he becomes like a major star in WWE. And you can see where they drop the ball with everybody. But one guy who always stood out to me in WCW, where whenever I would watch it, I would always be entertained, was Juventud Guerrera.
Oh,
he was for a little while, because I was gonna say 3 Count. That was actually the guys that were in my head.
I thought you were gonna say someone else.
Who do you think I was gonna say?
For some reason, I thought you were gonna say Disco Inferno.
I love the Disco Inferno. I was such a huge Disco Inferno fan. Screw Juventud. We're gonna talk about Disco Inferno then. The only thing I want to say about Juventud was just the fact that after he lost his mask, they had to give him personality, and his terrible command of the English language led to some of the greatest promos in the history of WCW. And that's why I liked him, because I was like, this guy can barely speak English, and he's trying to cut promos, and they make no sense, and they're so fun. But no, screw it. Let's talk about the Disco Inferno. How great was the Disco Inferno?
I wasn't a huge fan of WCW. I watched it, but I loved Disco Inferno.
I know. I
don't know why.
And the character was dumb.
So dumb.
It was a dumb character.
So dumb.
We're in the middle of the 90s. Disco's been dead for 20 years. And first of all, his theme song was great.
It was great.
It was so cheesy and so corny and so 70s, and it was so good. And he danced in the middle of his matches, and it made no sense. And he was it did. He was wrestling women. He was wrestling Jacqueline for a little while. And then he was he was in the cruiserweight division, and then he was in the NWO, and then he was in the Filthy Animals, and it just always seemed like
he's just always there.
And he teamed up with Alex Wright and became Boogie Nights. I mean, they had he had like a really good career in WCW. He was never like the biggest guy, never a main eventer, but I do remember. I started watching WCW like heavily in '95. Like I really dug into WCW. Because at that point I actually was a bigger WCW fan in like the early '90s than I was a WWE fan. Like around like '91, because my two favorite wrestlers at that time because Savage was kind of on the cusp and he wasn't wrestling like
He was more
heavily
on
full time.
More on the announcing.
He wasn't like heavily at full time. I hadn't really gotten into Brett yet. Like Brett,
yeah, it's a little too.
It was like he was
way
on
too
that
early.
cusp. I was still a little bit mad at him for beating Demolition for the tag titles.
Oh, I know it's your favorite tag team.
That was my favorite tag team of all time, Demolition. But that's when I kind of really started digging into WCW, and I discovered Sting and Lex Luger. And
Oh yeah.
so like in the early '90s, that's when they caught me, and then they kind of lost me. And then when I got back in, and I remember just seeing the Disco Inferno at one point. I was watching for a little bit before then, but then I remember there was an event called World War III. It was like one of the first years they did it. It's 3 rings, 60 guys. And Disco Inferno just would not be eliminated. And it was just like really weird. You just kept seeing him walking around like outside, and all the announcers were kind of like, oh, so I guess Disco Inferno's eliminated. And then like, no, wait, he's getting back in the ring. He must not have been eliminated. I just remember that being the thing. And I was like,
Disco Inferno.
I love this guy. I love this random guy who's just walking around out of nowhere for no reason. And I'm glad you actually said Disco
Truly
Inferno.
butthead character.
Oh, absolutely. Did you want to go with the one you had from earlier that we talked about?
He was one of my favorite butthead wrestlers pre-Attitude Era, and it was Tatanka.
I love Tatanka, but I remember that no matter how much I like Tatanka, that you always like Tatanka like way more than anybody else I knew.
More than anyone should like Tatanka.
Yeah. But again, there's another big guy who came in.
They built him up pretty.
He was undefeated for like a year,
yeah.
And then oh man, he just like
I don't know.
He lost all that momentum out of nowhere. He lost to Ludwig Borga, of all people.
Yeah.
I remember that was the guy who stopped his streak. They were really pushing him to feud with Luger. And
terrible. And then when he came back, like after a while, he didn't have the red hair.
Yeah, he didn't have the red
wasn't really
mohawk.
interested as much.
that red mohawk wasn't there, and he wasn't taking those feathers out of his hair.
It wasn't Tatanka.
It was not Tatanka. But there's a guy who like a lot of people don't realize was like it was a main eventer in global championship wrestling before he came to WWE. Under his real name, he gets to WWE. He's a good Native American character, positive influence.
Yeah.
And he was really good. And then I loved the heel turn.
Yeah.
Because that came out of nowhere. And it's ironic you're wearing the $1 Million Man t-shirt right now. It says I'm so money with Ted DiBiase on the front of it.
Who I think is one of the best heels.
Oh,
ever.
yeah, absolutely.
Him or Rick Rude, I guess.
Yeah, which I'm so glad that he's going into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah,
that actually
same.
made me really happy. But I remember it was the $1 Million Corporation.
Yeah,
Him and Lex Luger were best friends. And then out of nowhere,
was great.
He took there was the whole thing. Luger was like supposed to be paid off, and then it wasn't Luger, and it was really Tatanka. That was a great storyline,
That was good.
And he turned heel, and he was a pretty badass character for him and Bam Bam Bigelow were tag team for a little while.
that was good.
And there's another guy who
Man,
talking about butthead wrestlers. The guy Bam Bam Bigelow will go down as one of the guys that you will never guess who main evented WrestleMania.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Like, everyone will be like, who's the one guy you don't remember that main evented WrestleMania? It's going to be Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor.
It's such
oh my God.
the build-up was cool, fun though.
Yeah. And, unfortunately,
All
Shawn
the
Michaels and
football
Diesel, kind of got shafted that year.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And then Shawn Michaels came back and had the greatest match in the history of the world.
I don't think Shawn Michaels is complaining that much.
I don't think so.
I think he's still pretty remembered.
Yeah, I think so. He's kind of a little famous, That promo we cut with Reigns on Raw this past week was pretty good too. Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like seeing him come out like every once in a while, and that was
my favorite wrestler
unexpected.
of all time.
I know. We often, we have the debate of 1 and 2, and you put Shawn at 1 and Brett at 2, and I put Brett at 1 and Shawn at 2.
It's true.
So I respect the hell out of Shawn Michaels, especially coming back after the injury, and
Yeah, that's when he put on some.
Yeah, he put on some of the best matches.
Him versus Kurt Angle.
Oh my God, yeah. Jericho.
So
that was
The Undertaker.
Yep. That's actually my match of the week last week was the Shawn Michaels Chris Jericho ladder match that they had.
That was amazing.
The no holds barred match where Jericho got the crap kicked out of him by Shawn, lost the match, and then wound up winning the world title at the end of the night. It's a great story. It's a Chris Jericho story right there.
That's very true.
Yep. So do you have any other buttheads you want to kind of throw out there?
I had some like. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good butthead. Do you have anyone or?
I mean, I was trying to think, and I was really trying to think in terms of WCW guys because I know, we were going to probably go to a lot of WWE guys. The ones who stuck out to me, and it wasn't that they were really buttheads. It was just the gimmick was so stupid. Was the West Texas Rednecks?
Okay.
Which I just thought that was a really funny gimmick. That here's just these four honkies, that hated rap. I just thought like the theme song was really good, and they weren't supposed to get over because Master P was with the Filthy Animals and then for some reason Kurt Hennig and Kendall Windham and Bobby Duncombe wound up getting over because
very weird.
Yeah, it's just an awkward thing.
Well, that's like in WWE. You just have weird, like, the oddities. Like, all the guys that are in there.
Yeah.
It's, like, very weird.
Yeah, that was
the Cartman doll.
Yeah. Just Golgo with the Cartman doll. Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Kai and Tai is another one. The Indeed. I actually found out recently, I think that Shane McMahon actually was the one who did the voice for both of them. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
At the very least, he did the Indeed part, but I think he actually might have been the voice for Taka Michinoku.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually kind of interesting. But that was a funny gimmick.
That was.
He comes out and he's dubbed live. I mean, that's just a great idea.
That's a great idea.
But Kai and Tai were great too, like Taka was like this.
Especially in the Rumble when they were just getting.
I remember when Taka got thrown on his face.
Oh my god, that was one of the most brutal.
Oh my god,
he was dead.
And I just remember Jerry Lawler laughing his ass off at that, and he kept asking, like, "Can we see Taka get thrown out by the Boss Man again?" They let it run on his face.
They actually showed it a bunch of times.
They did.
Like a little square. I was like, oh my lord.
That was just that the differences between now and the Attitude Era, and that's one of them. Just Kai and Tai. Like, we can't get Apollo Crews, who's one of the best athletes in the world, over, but Kai and Tai got over.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my last set of buttheads, I picked a group. 3 guys that everybody, that were, you want to talk about the epitome of buttheads? Yes.
Mean Street Posse?
The Mean Street Posse! I loved the Mean Street Posse.
I did too.
They were just so, oh my God, they were so corny and so stupid with their sweater vests and there's this horribleness. But imagine that you're best friends with Shane McMahon growing up, and then all of a sudden you are on TV, and then all of a sudden you're getting beat up by some of these top guys and kind of stealing the show a little bit.
And they were like on Raw
every week. They had their own theme song, which was...
They won the hardcore belt.
Which, Pete Guest is still on the Edge and Christian show.
Like, yeah.
They just end up coming out of
very
nowhere.
Weird.
Just use the mailman on the Edge and Christian show for some reason. Pete Guest, of all people. But their theme song was so terrible, it was great.
It fit them perfect.
Yeah, it was so bad it was good. That's the idea of, a lot of people, and again, I harp on this, a lot of people crap on Vince Russo and a lot of the ideas he had. But Vince Russo got Kai and Tai and the Mean Street Posse over.
Which is impossible.
Yeah. Nowadays, those characters, the closest that come to guys like the Mean Street Posse were Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury when they were backing up Seth Rollins. But even still, those are 2 guys who were former champions. They
were known.
Yeah, they were known guys. I guess you can maybe compare them more. Here's another 2 guys that got over during the Attitude Era that nobody should have never gotten over. Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
They were great.
Yeah. This is why we need to do an Attitude Era show.
Yeah,
just to
definitely.
go back
There's
and look.
so much to dive into.
Yeah. But the Mean Street Posse, they were just, it was fun.
The epitome of butthead.
They were the
epitome.
Yeah, king buttheads.
They're king. They're on the top of the list.
They're top of the list of butthead wrestlers. They were barely even wrestlers. They weren't even
they weren't
trained.
wrestlers. They just got beat up.
They just got the crap kicked out of them, which was fun. And another guy who I wanted to bring up, but I kind of feel like he wasn't a butthead. He kind of was like, at one point looked like he was on the cusp of being a main eventer, just never reached it. Was Test.
Test, yeah, he was almost there.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Test.
I like Test.
Yeah.
He was definitely I thought he was going to be the guy.
I thought so too. That feud with Triple H after Stephanie dumped him and stuff like that. I thought that he was going to be,
he was good.
Yeah. Great in the ring. Decent on the mic. Wasn't the greatest on the mic.
But he was good enough.
But, we were in the era where managers were still a thing. And, he could have really benefited from having a manager.
I agree.
But how about his match against Shane McMahon? When you want to talk about the Mean Street Posse. The hardcore match he had with Shane McMahon. And then him and Shane were best friends. Shane had that match against the Big Show where he jumped off the thing. Test was a huge character during the Attitude Era.
Was for that part.
Yeah. I kind of, yeah, it's one of those guys where I kind of wish he would have actually reached the main event. I think he kind of deserved it.
Yeah, he was good enough. Yeah. Had to look.
Yeah.
The build.
All right, so we have any more before we go?
One more, I guess.
Right.
This is kind of pre-attitude, I guess.
Okay.
Crush.
Oh my! All right. So what Crush are we talking about?
I know. I'm talking about Crush with the dreads and the forehead tattoo.
Oh, okay. So
when he was with like
the Nation of Domination,
and he started his own.
Right. He had the oh my God! It was 8-ball and skull and chains. The DOA.
DOA. Yeah.
No, that was gonna really bother me if I didn't get that.
Me too.
Yeah, the Disciples of Apocalypse. Yeah. No, Crush was awesome.
I liked him.
You know, I was always a fan of Crush, especially because
the Kona Crush was cool too.
Yeah, and you know he debuted in WWE as a part of Demolition. So for me, you know that was really cool because it extended Demolition's shelf life for a little bit. Yeah. Even though they were kind of used as like as jobbers towards the end, but and then he became Kona Crush.
I like that character too. I used to play him on video games. I used to pick Kona Crush all the time.
Yeah, he had the blonde hair, and he had like that weird finish where he just grab your head and slam you down and just squeeze your head.
Very weird.
Yeah, and then
he comes back with black dreads, I guess.
Yeah, he had dreads and a weird tattoo on his forehead that somehow came off, but was a permanent tattoo. And he was in the original Nation of Domination with Savio Vega for a little bit, and then forms the DOA. But yeah, he
gets released like very soon after that. Right?
Yeah. And then he goes to WCW, makes his own career out of being in Chronic with Bryan Adams.
That's true, yeah. I forgot about that.
Well, I'm sorry, wait, he was Bryan Adams. It was Brian Clark, and they were Chronic, him and Wrath, and he had a really good career. And
still a butthead though.
Yeah, no, definitely still on the lines of being a butthead wrestler. That was a good one. I kind of like. It's not that I forgot about Crush, but I wouldn't have thought about Crush for a little bit. Savio Vega was a good one too.
Savio Vega was just.
And with Los Boricos.
Real butthead.
He was a butthead too. I think Savio Vega's shining moment's going to be the feud that he had with Stone Cold before he was Stone Cold.
That was it.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so I guess we're gonna. This is the longest episode I've ever done for this show. That's awesome. I guess we'll cut it here. This was fun, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it was definitely fun.
Thank you for being here, man. This was really cool.
Thanks for having me.
No, of course. All right, so this has been the Slam Sessions. For Tommy Budnick, I'm Albert Albanese, and we will see you guys next time, probably next week, where we're probably going to dig really deep into WrestleMania. I gave my predictions already. I guess I have to give them again, and maybe I'll just bitch about wrestling fans again because I hate them.
It's always fun.
It always is fun. All right, so we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the Slam Sessions. Find us on Twitter @the Slam Sessions. We'll see you next time.